Are you searching for a deeper understanding of your faith?
Inspiring Philosophy is your go-to resource for exploring the rich tapestry of Christian thought.
From biblical archaeology to philosophy of mind, we dive into the topics that matter.
Our content bridges faith and understanding, offering insights into God's existence and the reliability of the New Testament.
Join a community where faith meets reason and discover the answers you've been seeking.
Inspiring Philosophy, where faith meets understanding.
I'm sorry, Master, but I must go all out. Just this once. I don't like you, Muhammad. Dawa boys, you've left me no choice. Bible's been corrupted, that should go to line. But you claim the same book, prophesize your sign, twisting every scripture, faking all the quotes, hiding all the facts, trying to keep your boat afloat. Without lies, Islam dies. Perfect preservation, yeah, that myth got wrecked. Worldly Quran don't even match the text. Used to flex science, now you backing away, cause camel embryo facts don't hit the same today. Got the Islamic dilemma, you can't solve that. Every answer you give makes the problem snap back. Say the Bible's corrupt, but your own book cries. Bibles are Allah's words, they can't be revised. If Allah's words can't change, then your claims are fraud. You just argued yourself against the word of your God. Injil's secret book, that's your mystery prize. But the Quran said Christians should judge by it. Lies, then your crew pull muted like it's just a game. Ruined the life and trashed a man's name. All that dawah talk, but when truth appears, you vanish from the chat like it hurt your ears. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. We follow Jesus better, sure in your dream. While cutting out his claims like you're cropping a meme. Crown off his head, toss his cross in the bin. The smile for the camera like you're still his kin. Jesus was a Muslim, cute little twist. Redefine the word so the facts don't exist. If labels could change what the records prove. If Pharaoh was a Yahweh fan, and Judas stayed true. Muhammad in the Song of Solomon, boy, you made your prophet a fruit. Snuggled up with Solomon and came the man of Ozu. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. You preach perfect text, but the proof ain't there. Half's wash, even your readers don't care. Call the Bible corrupt, but still quote it loud. Trying to find Muhammad just to please your crowd. Song of Solomon, yeah, that's a fleshy fleck. You just wrote your prophet in the Solomon's bed. Then the man of vows came riding through all night long, and you say that's true. Jesus was a Muslim, the word plays dead. By that logic, Pharaoh bowed his head. You twist, you spin, but you can't disguise that every dawah claim is built on lies. Without lies, without lies, without lies, without
Welcome, everyone. We are live with two of the gayest people on planet Earth, apparently.
I didn't even realize I was gay until this weekend, Mike.
Apparently.
So-
Hey,
Now you know. Now you know.
Hey, Karo's Philosophy. He just asked a simple question. Do I have permission if I translate your videos in Turkish? Man, translate what?
Yeah, please.
Everything. Yeah. Why would we be against that? I don't know why people even have to ask. Just do it, man. Do it. Do it. Make them. Why are you wasting time asking me when you could already be translating? Go. But yeah, absolutely give permission.
Do it.
So do it.
Do it.
So everybody, we're going to be talking tonight about, so Matt, our social media guy, suggested we do kind of a chill stream tonight. I said, deal. So we're just going to talk about collapsing Islam. And, we're going to talk about the apostasy rates in Islam, but nobody has really talked about the birth rates in Islam. And I got some pretty good news, bad news for Muslims on that issue itself. It's not as, because they always say, well, yeah, we're not converting a lot of people according to Pew. And, there are apostasy rates going up, but we have our birth rates. I actually have an objection that we are going to cover tonight. But yeah, we've got the Dizzle here. What's going on, Dizzle?
What's up, man?
What's up? I was watching your stream do all that stuff on Maloink all afternoon. Pretty awesome stream.
That was just getting started for the finale.
Well,
were you guys review?
Huh?
Good.
Were you guys reviewing the stream from the other night, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this was from basically since the debates. It was to get everyone up to speed for the stuff over the past couple days, which we'll probably be doing tomorrow.
I heard that Maloink was live on TikTok last night, and I tuned in just to see if he was actually going to be releasing all the information. And of course, you're like, "I'll do it tomorrow," but I kid you not, this is the exact moment I turned in, and I saved this just for the Dizzle here.
I've been rear-ended by so many Muslims that.
Are you kidding me? I was just saying in the previous stream, why does he constantly set everyone up for these jokes, and then they get mad when we do the jokes, right? Everything. I've been rear-ended by so many Muslims so many times. I just keep getting rear-ended over and over and over again.
I was like, man, I tuned in the wrong time. I listened for a couple minutes. He just complained about how Muslims are being mean and they're not letting him lead the Dawa scene. That's why he's got to leave and go to Qatar during Ramadan. Really, we know he's going to land and then go to Israel to collect his Jew money for being a very successful Mossad agent.
It's all about the shekels, man.
About the shekels. We get it. Doing a great job, Malik. Keep destroying Islam. We'll see you when you get back after reporting to Mossad. We appreciate all the good work you're doing. But speaking of that, we'll be looking at some of Malik's handiwork as we see that Islam is collapsing. I found an interesting video on a channel called The Fall of Nations we're going to look at. I think it's run by an ex-Muslim because he posts a lot of stuff about Islam collapsing. I think he uses AI voices, but they're pretty interesting videos to say the least. But we'll cover some of that data, and then we will also look at the birth rate issue, which I've been looking into as of late. Some good stuff. Just real quick, I can't believe IP and David disassociated from each other. That's right. We have completely disassociated. According to Maloink, that's what we have done. We've disassociated. Very true.
I didn't even know that.
Yep, very true.
Oh, the dude is so insanely delusional. He's they're all the Dawa guys are just declaring war on each other and snitching on each other and doxing each other and stuff like that. But then he's like, yes, and anytime I'm not on a stream with someone for 3 or 4 days, he goes, oh, that person has disassociated from David. You see, we're winning, we're making a difference. I'm like, who has disassociated from me? It's like Naomi Armstrong, who I'd never heard of before. She came out against me, but apart from that, yep.
No one has. It's pretty. He's doing a great job destroying Dawa. I mean, it's funny. He was complaining on the stream last night. He's like, everyone's fighting, everyone's causing Dawa to split. And then 2 minutes later, he's like, and I'm going to dox them all because they're so mean to me. And I'm going to expose. I'm like, talk about log and get the log out of your eye before you get the speck out of someone else's, man. You're one of the biggest problems here. He's very good at pointing out the problems of other Dawa bros and not seeing his own problems. It's pretty interesting to watch, to say the least. Glad to have watched most of other streams to instantly hop onto this one. Yep, pretty awesome. Let's go. Sup, David Wood, IP and fan. Let's watch Islam fail. Absolutely. IP opinion on Plantingan's ontological argument. Those were some of the first videos I did when I got on YouTube. A while back in 2012 or something. I don't think it proves. It just shows that it is a rational, logical conclusion to get there. Is suspending belief and possibility absence defeater. I don't think it'd be a defeater. It's just you're appealing to agnosticism. You're not really offering a defeater.
If you're interested in ontological arguments, Sijuwati has a book called The Rational Ontological Argument. I think it's probably a strong version that you could try to look at too.
IP, what do you think of the idea that Nephilim are subversive of the ancient hero archetype, saying that they are neither great nor of divine origin? I don't know. Check out my video Genesis 6a, the Nephilim, part of the Genesis 1 to 11 series, for my view on the Nephilim. I think they're ancient heroes of some sort that were practicing polygamy and violence and all that stuff. I don't think they're like demi creatures of like angelic descent. IP just got back of his nursing day job. What nursing day job? I don't get the joke, man. Sorry. David Wood, you got something to eat between live streams?
No, I drank some juice though.
Pretty
so
awesome.
I'm good.
He's good. Calm down.
Well, you know, it was weird. My wife got a bottle of beet juice. I guess it's supposed to be healthy, but it had beet juice and ginger and some other stuff in it. Anyway, I was like, I'll try some of this.
Dios te bendiga, hermano. Can't wait to see you at the next family reunion in Mexico.
Hey!
Don't worry. I will. I'm still in league with the cigar crime cartel. We will get David Segarra across the border.
Oh, somebody's clarifying in the chat. The reason
What?
they sent the nurse, you know, that nurse thing is because your shirt looks like you're wearing a nurse. Like
I thought that's what it was. Nurse scrubs, but
Okay. Well, now I can never wear this shirt again. Thank you for that. Are you going to review the debate between Dr. White and Dr. Smith on the Trinity, uncover Unitarian stuff in general? Maybe. We will consider that for next week. I like the other stream too, except that the Thaddeus guy ruined my life. This is true. Of course he did. Absolutely did. And here, Kit Kat Mike Jones, favorite fan. Well, thank you so much for being my favorite fan. He says hi. Well, hi to you too. So before we get into it, just so you guys know, Orthodox Muslim has decided to continue his epic rampage of lying, and they raided the Discord server to look for dirt on Than. And let's just show you how dishonest they are. They cropped photos of Than and his wife to make him look gay. They did this. Like
here you go.
How
is Zesty Than, the Discord inspiring femboy?
To be fair, it doesn't take a lot to make Than look gay. I just want to point that out. So.
I look, everybody knows this. Like, if you're friends with me, you will be flirted with. Okay, it's called bro humor. That's how it goes.
Yeah, and we all know there is no humor allowed in Islam, so they don't understand how jokes work with their being the product of 40 generations of cousin marriage. So they see someone making a joke and they go, "Oh, this is the proof they're gay." Man,
yeah.
But they also they crop photos. So yeah.
So here's the real picture. My wife and I celebrating our 5-year anniversary, and these Muslims who raided the Discord server to try to find dirt on me and they couldn't find anything. They just found, Than flirts with the homies and makes gay jokes with the homies. And then they crop pictures like this to be like, look at that. That's a man's hands on Than's butt, which, by the way, my wife is very offended that you like are trying to spin this theory that those are manly hands. Very dainty. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is me and my wife touching my butt. They also have videos of me doing goofy dances and doing goofy faces. Those are recorded and taken by my wife on dates. So I do flirt with the homies.
So I think they're kind of projecting here, Than. Why is Libiano cropping that photo of you to make it look like you're with a man? I mean, like it's clear he's projecting.
I have a better question, Mike. Why were they spending so much time looking at pictures of my butt?
That's true. They like, oh my, so they found a picture of you like that, had to crop your wife out because they didn't want a woman in there. They wanted to be the one in there. So imply it's a man. It's a lot of projecting these Freudian slips from these Muslims like Libiano, the Orthodox Muslim, out there cropping that photo. And it's so weird. He got so excited about all these photos. He just had to post them all. He's like, guys, look at Than. Isn't he cute? I mean, gay? Isn't this bad? Wow, a lot of projection.
Yeah,
they're basically just crashing out because there's a man that's comfortable with his sexuality.
No, to be fair here again, they probably photoshopped those pictures for themselves and had them for a while and then they're passing them around and finally someone's like, actually, we could call Than gay.
It's probably that sounds what I mean. Is Malik exposed them? They were taking trannies back to hotel rooms, so I'm not surprised at all. They were thinking that kind of stuff.
And the Warner keeps volunteering to take it up the butt to go to a Diddy party and join the Illuminati.
Yep. So kind of projecting.
And Muhammad got zooted in the desert by a bunch of
Zoot
men.
Pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny the moment they found it. They immediately got excited. I mean, it just said a lot about them. But yeah, pretty weird
Well,
stuff.
no, on the plus side is fan. That's actually a positive sign. If they're dedicating time to you, it means they're getting concerned about you.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that. My Bayesian Islamic dilemma has been out for 3 months. Nobody's responded to that, but they have time to make a video about my butt.
That's true. That's a good point. They're
Well-
not responding to your arguments. They're thinking about your butt, fam, because it's like, no. It's like, think about that. They can't refute the Bayesian Islamic dilemma. So instead, they're just thinking about your butt, which again says a lot about them. Kind of
In
weird.
their defense, if they ever have to choose between responding to a Bayesian argument or checking out some dude's butt, they will always choose checking out a man's butt. That's just a fact. That's
Pretty
just part of
creepy.
Islam, guys.
Yeah.
That's just Islam 101. Come on. I learned that.
Right.
I learned that. That's one of the first things I learned about Islam.
Yeah.
Pretty weird, pretty creepy. So let's get into this video again. It's a interesting channel. I watched a couple other videos. They do a lot on collapsing Islam stuff happening, but this was an interesting video. So let's dive into this, and then we'll look at some data.
Across the Muslim world, something unthinkable is happening. Millions are turning away, not from culture, not from identity, but from the systems that claim to speak for God. In Iran, Tunisia, Egypt, and even Saudi Arabia, faith is being hollowed out from the inside. Clerics once ruled with absolute authority. Now they're being ignored. Governments
See that they had video of concert there.
control.
Was that?
No, I think that was they were playing a video of a concert on there because now they have like Iggy Azalea and stuff like that over there twerking on stage in Saudi Arabia and stuff. They've legalized drinking in areas. Now they have bikini beaches in certain spots and so on. So, yep, things are changing.
Yeah.
Now that control is slipping, and the numbers prove it. In Tunisia, nearly half of the young people now call themselves not religious.
Yeah, I looked that up. There is some interesting data on that. Let me pull that up here. So here we go. So this was a survey done by the BBC looking at in Tunisia. Now, Tunisia is interesting. This is important. They don't seem to, as far as I could tell, maybe I got the data wrong, but they don't have apostasy laws. So, you don't have to, you're not going to get killed for leaving Islam here. BBC so it says the BBC, which covered 11 Arabic-speaking countries, said that Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, Algeria in particular, had seen a rise in people defining themselves as not religious since 2013, especially among under 30s. In Tunisia, 31% of all ages define themselves as not religious, with the figure rising to almost half among 18 to 29-year-olds. The highest figure in the region. In 2013, only 16% of people in Tunisia define themselves as non-religious.
That's what they call an avalanche, guys.
That's that. And again, think about this. Tunisia apparently doesn't have apostasy laws. Now compare that to like a nation like, for example, like Pakistan or Iran, places that have apostasy laws where you're going to get killed for doing that. So think of the other Muslim surrounding nations where you could get killed. This is reflective of what's happening throughout the Islamic world because you can actually freely, leave Islam in this country. Libya, which is mired since 2011, has also seen a steep drop in religiosity. The number of people identifying as non-religious, 25%, has more than doubled since 2014. Among 18 to 29-year-olds, the figure is 36%. Out of the other countries, Lebanon, Egypt, Yemen, Sudan, Jordan, Iraq, and Palestinian territories, only Yemen has seen an increase in religious sentiment since 2013. Yeah, and they interviewed 25,000 people. So this was not a little crappy poll here. They interviewed a lot. So yeah, this is some pretty interesting data here coming out. And we've seen the numbers in Iran, but you combine this with like Tunisia, Algeria. This is reflective of what's happening in a lot of these countries where you have, like, for example, Egypt, you have apostasy laws there. Are a lot of the people that are saying they're Muslim actually Muslim, or are they just saying it because they don't want to be killed or thrown in prison? That's what you got to think of.
In Iran, only 1 in 3 still identify with the regime's version of Islam. On Reddit, over 400,000 ex-Muslims are openly documenting their exit. This isn't rebellion. It's collapse. Not loud, not violent, but viral and spreading fast. And behind it all is one brutal truth. When religion is used for power, people stop trusting the religion and start walking away.
That is a testament to history. If you actually look at the numbers of religiosity in America and Europe at the same time as the American Revolution, the religiosity levels in America were much lower. A lot of people were going to America to get away from religion, claiming to be deists and the like. What happened, though, is America over time got rid of states that would fund churches. And meanwhile, still happening in Europe, they have state-funded churches. That always leads to higher levels of apostasy, declining religiosity, that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on there. Meanwhile, America religiosity soared and is actually far more religious. So keep that in mind. So the Islamic world also has much more authoritarian laws when it comes to religiosity.
Let's break down how one of the fastest growing collapses in the modern world is unfolding
Quick pause.
inside the faith that once united.
I just wanted to add, like the kind of the underlying reason why, if that's all you know and that's all your experience, you kind of don't know anything else. So for a lot of places in the Muslim world, for a long time, Islam is all you know. Islam is all you encounter. You can't question it. You can't challenge it, and so on. You don't have a lot of ideas circulating to challenge this stuff. So all of a sudden, people in all these countries get internet access, and that's pretty much it. This is the result of a couple of decades now of internet access, where they can encounter other ideas and they look around and say, this Islam stuff's pretty crappy.
Yep, that is exactly what is happening.
Nearly 2 billion people.
And if you think about it in terms of psychology, Islam, of course, is a religion that thrived on, for example, conquest, expansion. Hey, join Islam, you get to go on conquest, expand, pillage. They can't do that anymore. So right now, the West is dominating the Islamic world, and of course, Muslims feel that sense of inferiority. We talked to an ex-Dawa teacher who came on one of our streams who said that he was seeing that in the community before he left Islam, and we had to take that down because he was getting threats, and we're going to re-upload it again with his voice, with a voice changer on him. But yeah, that's what he was experiencing. But if you're like a Muslim living in the West, you're not part of the what they would perceive as the superior culture, the one that's dominating. Can't drink alcohol, can't eat pork, can't engage in a lot of activities that are considered haram, and it bothers them. So there's a thing called the 3-generation rule, which is documented that often happens is if people assimilate into the West in 3 generations, they tend to assimilate and become more secular, aligned with that culture. So this is not good news for a lot of the Muslims moving into the West. They may be boasting numbers right now, but the question is, can that be sustained over the 3-generation rule? I don't think that's going to be the case.
On paper, almost nobody leaves Islam. According to Pew Research, Muslims have a 99% retention rate globally. In Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim country, 93% were raised Muslim, and 93% still identify as Muslim today. In Pakistan, Egypt, and across the Middle East, the pattern repeats. Fewer than 1% report leaving the faith. It looks rock solid, unshakable. But here's the problem. Those numbers don't measure belief. They measure survival. In much of the Muslim world, leaving Islam isn't a private choice. It's a crime. Algeria, Malaysia, Brunei, Egypt all maintain laws punishing apostasy. In Afghanistan and Iran, public atheism can mean prison or death. In Saudi Arabia, promoting atheist thought is classified as terrorism. In Pakistan, a Facebook post questioning Islam can trigger a blasphemy charge or a lynch mob. So when a survey taker shows up with a clipboard asking about religion, you tick the box that keeps you alive. As one ex-Muslim put it, the first rule of leaving Islam is not to talk about leaving Islam.
Yeah, that's the thing right here. This is what we are seeing. The official numbers of Muslims worldwide is probably not accurate by any stretch of the imagination because they're using official country data. They're not using the actual data because you can't get real data because people are afraid they'll be thrown in prison or killed for leaving Islam. And you also have to think about this. You have to think about what these authoritarian laws are doing. They don't actually create Muslims that are fervent for the faith. You create cultural Muslims, people that identify as Muslim because they have to. And I remember reading about this in an article in the Atlantic about this kind of authoritarian overreach on what it does in terms of religiosity. If you have a town, for example, in like the middle of like Arkansas, and they want to ban bikinis because they think they're immoral. Okay, you do that one generation. The second generation comes along and they hold to the rule because that's what they were taught. The third generation comes along and they start to question that rule. What is the point of this rule? Why do we have it? And they get rid of it. It's the 3-generation rule kind of thing that I mentioned earlier, a little bit different in this kind of thing. But you get the idea. When you enforce something, when you try to enforce morality, people do it not because they want to be moral. They do it because they don't want to break the law. So they're not doing it because they actually think it's right. And that over time creates a psychology. We're doing this not because it's the right thing to do, but because we have to. Take that mentality and apply it to the apostasy laws in the Islamic world. Why are you identifying as Muslim? Because we have to, not because we want to. And that slowly builds up in over generations. People start to go, why are we identifying as Muslim? Why do we have to? Well, because the state said we had to. Oh, that's why we're Muslim? That's not a good reason to be Muslim. And they're right. This is a problem that happened in Europe with state fund and run churches. They don't work. What happened in America was you basically capitalized. You use the metrics, the principles of capitalism on religion. If you as clergy need to actually go out and proselytize to get people into your church, you're not just going to rely on government funds. You actually have to go out and do the work. So you start actually proselytizing, evangelizing, because that's how you're going to get converts. If you're just relying on a government check that's going to keep funding your church, you don't care. You just whatever. That's why a lot of these state-funded churches are run by bishops that are atheists now in places like Sweden and Denmark. They're just getting a government check. Now, apply that to the Islamic world. People are going to identify as Muslim because they have to, not because they actually want to. And the numbers coming out now in certain places like Tunisia, Algeria, Iran are telling that story.
Because when you look where people can actually speak freely, everything changes. In the United States, 23% of people raised Muslim have left the faith. Nearly 1 in 4. In Canada and Europe, similar patterns emerge. When Muslims live in environments where apostasy won't get them killed, a significant number walk away. But the most shocking numbers come from inside the Islamic world itself. In 2020, an anonymous survey of 50,000 Iranians revealed something extraordinary. Only 32% still identified as Shia Muslim.
Yeah, this is something we've highlighted before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you add up the different kinds of Muslims, it adds up to about 40%. So basically 40% of the population of Iran identifies as any kind of Muslim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this is, and they're reporting their like actual numbers is like 90% is Muslim, which is just total lie, absolute total lie. So, it kind of makes you wonder how many maybe of this group, this Shiite Muslim, is just saying that because, again, they're scared. It's got to, I'm not saying it's like 30%. It's got to at least be some of that.
Well, the idea is that this poll was anonymous. So, so there's no threat. And so, yeah, when you get numbers like 95%, that's if you go around, that's if the government goes around asking people, oh, of course we're Muslims. Of course we're Muslims. If you switch that to, it's anonymous, then you get completely different numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting. And again, you're seeing similar stuff coming out of Tunisia, Algeria, like we showed earlier with this interesting article here. Let me put that up again. Yeah, so I mean, this is reflective of what's and this is opposite ends of the Islamic world, North Africa to Middle East. You're seeing these kinds of trends, which is actually kind of interesting.
Sect Iran's theocracy mandates. Over 22% said they have no religion. More than half, over 50%, admitted that they had once been religious but lost their faith. In a country where official statistics claim 99% Islamic identification, half the population has privately checked out. The survey revealed something even more startling. Nearly 60% of respondents said they no longer pray.
That's an interesting aspect of the survey as well, that 60% say they no longer even pray. So drastic changes.
That's why they had tens of thousands of mosques close in Iran just because no one was showing up.
Yep.
Huge majorities opposed mixing religion with law and education. This is Iran, the Islamic Republic, where the Constitution declares the country is ruled by God through his representatives on earth. And half the population has checked out. One Iranian analyst put it bluntly, "We Iranians are 98% Muslim, except in private." Then there's Tunisia. 46% of Tunisians under 30 now describe themselves as not religious. That number has nearly tripled in a decade. Across the Arab world, the Arab Barometer tracked a stunning shift. In 2013, only 8% of Arabs identified as not religious. By 2019, that jumped to 18%. In Morocco, Algeria, Libya, the numbers climbed into the 20s and 30s among youth.
This is really startling because, again, we heard this stuff coming out of Iran, but seeing it like Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, Libya even. Wow. 62% of young Libyans identifying as not religious is startling. Like that, Muslims are complaining, oh, the Christians are leaving in the West. But I mean, look at your own countries, man. Same thing's happening there. It looks like it's even worse in some regards, some places. This is insane.
Oh, 62% is crazy, because if it's 62% of young people, then guess what? They grow up. I mean, you know, pretty soon they're the old people eventually. And if that trend continues, then the young people then are going to be like 80, 90% not religious and so on. So,
yeah, it's they're not going to be raising kids on that same religious wavelength.
Yeah. So the idea is when you're talking about young Libyans, so that's like the 18 to 30 range or something like that. Those are the people who are having kids right now. Those are the people who are having kids. How are they raising their kids? As devout Muslims?
No. But again, I mean, like, why is this happening? Internet is seeping in. And I also think it has a lot to do, David, with the collapse of the Islamic civilization. If you can't go out and conquer, I mean, Islam is not a religion like Christianity. It's built on the idea that we are supposed to subjugate the world. That is what Allah has mandated for us as Muslims, as they say. If you can't do that, if the West is dominating you, that actually reflects on the truth of Islam. Christianity, it says we're going to be persecuted, we're going to be hated. Islam says you should be dominating and subjugating. If you're not doing that, you either have two options. Either Allah is punishing you, or it's Islam is false. I can't think of another alternative in there. Maybe there is, but I can't think of one.
Yeah, Allah's punishing you or testing you, but this actually to get the big picture for, you know, a lot of its history, Islam was expanding and conquering and so on. And they had a caliphate. They had a caliphate for most of their history. All of a sudden, the Ottoman Empire, that's the Ottoman Caliphate, fights in World War I, allies with the Germans, not a good idea. They lose, and for the first time in many, many centuries, Islam loses its caliphate. We do not understand in the West how traumatic that was, right? You have the caliphate. That is an idea that is built into Islam. They lost it. And so if you look at pictures of places like Iran and Afghanistan, even if you look at pictures of those places from like the 1960s, they look like Western nations. People started dressing like Western nations. People were getting jobs in technology and so on. Women were studying engineering and things like that. And so it was basically the attitude of a lot of people was, okay, we lost. It didn't work. This is not supposed to be the way things are according to Islam. Islam is supposed to expand and expand and expand until it takes over the world. And now we can't win a fight, and we lost our caliphate. It didn't work. It's been falsified. So the emphasis for a while was to modernize and westernize, but then you had the possible alternative explanation that Mike just mentioned. Maybe it's not that Islam is false. Maybe Allah is punishing us. Maybe Allah is punishing the Muslim community for not being devout enough, for not being strict enough in enforcing Sharia and so on. So Allah is punishing you to see, to give you an opportunity to correct course and so on. So this is what gives rise to like the Muslim Brotherhood in Sunni Islam. This is what leads to the Iranian Revolution in Shia Islam. Those are both sort of experiments, right? Like, hey, what happens if we crack down and become very strict? Then Allah will bless us, and then you'll see. Then you'll see that we will continue expanding and taking over the world. So they tried that. Guess what? It's collapsing in Iran. It's not working. And with the Muslim Brotherhood, the sort of culmination of that type of thinking was ISIS. ISIS lost and so on. So anyway, not doing well for the Muslim Brotherhood either. And so now the idea is cropping up again all over the place. Like this, why are we weak? Why are we so weak? Why don't we have a caliphate? Why can't, no matter how strict we become, why can't we win and make a comeback? And why isn't Allah blessing us? And so it's really like it's psychologically leading them away from Islam. Now, what's really screwed up is you had the collapse of the Ottoman Caliphate, and then you had the possible alternative explanation. It's maybe Allah's punishing you because you're not devout enough. Okay, so be really strict and devout. Like go around just beating and imprisoning women if they don't wear the hijab and so on. Do that sort of thing, and then Allah will bless you. Okay, they're doing all that stuff. It's not working. Islam is still imploding. So what do you do now? Keep in mind that would have been the end of it. That would have been. It wouldn't be the end of Islam. You'd still have Islam going on and so on. But that would be the end of it for lots of people. Like, I can't take this seriously anymore, and Islam would just continue to spiral downwards and so on. But now you have the additional alternative, which is maybe Allah is conquering the world in a different way. Maybe he's letting these nations crumble so you all become immigrants and go take over Western nations, and maybe you're going to take over again because of that. So sadly, you have Western leaders actually helping them come up with an alternative explanation. If you weren't doing that, there'd just be no possible explanation in Islam for why things are crumbling like this.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't work in the long run. I mean, if you go to, like, for example, the U.S., like Pew Research will point out that like 23% of like people in the U.S. are leaving Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I mean, like migrating to the West is not going to help them in the long run. Like that's
the idea is they're looking and like, look, we're taking over entire cities in the UK and stuff like this. So it's the stuff they're bragging about. They're not bragging about the 23% apostasy rate of Muslims in the US and so on. They're bragging, they're thumping their chest. Look, we're taking over cities. So maybe if we just take over a little more, and the goal is if we take over enough places, then we can actually silence all criticism, block all criticism, kill critics, and so on. Start, implementing apostasy laws, and then we can stop people from leaving Islam. And so that's the theory. It's not going to work, but it just sucks that it gives them hope that Islam is still going to be victorious, because lots of people are still going to suffer because they have this hope.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate. We'll get to birth rates here in a minute. Let me get some super chats. When I had suggested Bible trivia the other day, I was meaning you should get y'all together for Bible Jeopardy to see who knows the Bible best. Yeah, maybe we have a giant set. We could do that someday. Because, the hitting the buzzer is going to be kind of hard with like time delays and everything. There is no God but triune God, and Muhammad is a false prophet. Pretty base.
True.
Just sending to remind Mike to tell people to follow our new page. The new page is called IP Stream Clips. We've been posting clips of streams to there, so follow that. It's just IP Stream Clips.
Hold up. You seriously put IP and stream in the same title?
That's the joke. You get it now? You happy?
IP. You should put it IP's stream. IP's stream clips.
Some people don't get the dad jokes. It took you a while.
I got it. I appreciated it, David.
Yeah. Hi, P. Do you still like the Kalam argument? Yes. I just don't use it as much because I just prefer contingency arguments. Mike, thoughts on the base edits of you on TikTok? I mean, yeah, people have been taking a lot of clips from my debate with Libiano and like editing them. They've been pretty awesome. Just showing how Libiano
show me. I want to see one. Send me one.
Man,
you think he just has one just handy? Like, oh, here it is.
No, I'm not saying like now. I'm just saying like send it to me so I can see later.
Oh, that's
yeah. There's a guy called Ortho George. I think he posted one recently. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people. It's pretty awesome. So we're trying to make some too. We've been behind on making clips because we've been busy with other stuff, but we're getting there. Malik got rear-ended like his prophet. Yep, very rude. Very, very rude of those Muslims to do that to him. To David, Imperial Japanese soldier Mao Zedong, Kim Il Sung, Pol Pot versus Muhammad for Boom Boom Room would be awesome.
Not sure about an Imperial Japanese soldier. Yeah, they're all just not. I mean, maybe they'd be popular in other parts of the world, but you know.
Thoughts on Paul Draper's decisive evidence argument? I forget what that is. Also, what are your thoughts on YouTube atheists these days? Yeah, they're not really doing a lot of that. I mean, like maybe Paulo Gia is doing some stuff, but I mean, like for the most part, people like Rationality Rules or Genetically Modified Skeptic or even Alex O'Connor aren't really like trying to, you know, do the atheist evangelism anymore. It's been pretty awesome. They've moved on to politics and stuff like that. Is being a furry sinful? I would say yes. Don't
ask Than though. is a man wearing Daisy Dukes?
We make fun of furries in our Discord server.
Wait a minute. So people are not allowed to flirt with the homies?
No.
Than?
No,
apparently
you're not allowed to flirt with the homies anymore. And Mike, I know that I've told you about this before, but there's people very mad in our Discord server because we had OnlyFans and IP simping channels, and Islam took that away from them. So there's people that are mad now because
Islam ruins fun. You can't have jokes for them because they don't understand how jokes work with being the product of 40 generations of cousin marriage. They just assume everything literal, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they're secretly just admiring you and you know, just projecting what they want about you on, you know, out there. It's kind of messed up. It can't be a woman's hands. Why would you love your wife? This is true.
It's true. Why would a wife respect a man that lets her touch his butt?
IP Malik said Ortho Duck Lips copied the Warner, so it's confirmed Ortho has issues, right? David Wood, did he say that?
Yeah, Malik did say something along those lines, but yeah, I forget what he was talking about.
About your wife, she's too old. She's practically a grandma in Islam years. Yep.
If she's above 14, she's a grandmother.
Regarding the ontological argument, Joe Schmidt and leading philosophers wrote a paper claiming the ontological argument is skewed towards atheism. The thesis is that it can be reversed and serves atheism. I'd like to.
I was actually talking to Joe about that. We're gonna have a call about it.
Okay.
Sometime at the end of the month, probably.
Delaware Bros have small, soft hands from not working. That's the thing. Maybe their hands are so dainty they just saw your wife's hands and they're like, oh yes, those are just like mine. So I joined your last live, and the first thing I hear is some depraved joke about a hunter and a bear. Then I join this one, and the first thing I hear about is people looking at Than's butt. Interesting. What is going on, man? I don't remember.
It is weird, man. It's the internet, man. It's the internet. We try to do awesome, wholesome shows, and but we get people as soon as people get the ability to post comments and so on, it's all downhill from there.
Well, let's get back to the video on that note.
These aren't fringe movements. We're talking about millions. If just 5% of Egypt's 119 million people have quietly disengaged, that's almost 6 million souls. A population the size of a small country, gone from the faith, hiding in plain sight. So what broke? What broke is simple. When religion becomes the government, belief stops being personal.
Yep.
Iran offers the clearest case study. In 1979, Iran became the first modern nation governed by Shia theocracy. Clerics rule as political authorities. Islamic law is the law of the land. Morality police patrolled the streets, enforcing dress codes and public piety. For more than 45 years, the regime tried to engineer a perfect Islamic society through control, and it backfired spectacularly. The children and grandchildren of the revolution grew up under this system. They didn't experience Islam as a moral compass. They experienced it as a suffocating state ideology that controlled every aspect of life. They watched mullahs and officials preach sacrifice while living in privilege and corruption. They saw criticism of the system silenced in the name of defending the faith. Over time, the very idea of Islamic government became toxic in their eyes.
This is a point I've been trying to hit at. when you tie religion to the government, when the government is corrupt, you see that as a product of the religion because they're tied together. This is just what psychologically happens for people. But I mean, also, again, when you enforce religion, you're not doing it because you want to. Think of sending your kids to school. What does your kid say every morning? I don't want to go to school today. You force them to go because they need to learn basic things like arithmetic and spelling. You can't do that with religion because they're going to learn it because they have to, not because they want to. Now, I'm not saying you're going to take your kid to church, but you can't like force them to be a Christian. They have to make that personal choice. And that's the thing we teach nowadays. When you have states trying to force Islam onto people, they're Muslim because they have to be, not because they want to be. This is the problem. This is the problem with states doing that versus families, because families are little units. They a lot different, because your parents love you, that kind of thing. Very different. When a state is doing that, it makes people reject it because they don't want to be told what to believe by the state. This is just what happens psychologically for people.
As one Iranian woman said during the 2022 protest, they ruined our religion by trying to force it on us. Mandatory hijab laws turned a religion into a vehicle of oppression. The more the regime doubled down on coercion, the more it alienated its people. By 2022, Iran erupted. Mahsa Amini, a young woman, died at the hands of the morality police for an improper hijab. Nationwide protest followed. The slogan, "Woman, Life, Freedom." Crowds burned pictures of the supreme leader. Women tossed their headscarves into bonfires. This wasn't a rejection of God. It was a rejection of clerical tyranny. But once that distinction is made collectively, the next step follows naturally. If the guardians of Islam are corrupt liars and living under Islamic laws yields only misery, maybe the religion itself isn't worth following. A bitter joke circulates in Iran. We asked Allah for an Islamic republic. He gave it to us, and in doing so, He cured us of our Islam. The same pattern is visible across the region. In Saudi Arabia, for decades, the elite princes enforced strict Wahhabi morality on the public. They banned cinema, segregated genders, policed women's attire. Meanwhile, some of those same elites lived playboy lifestyles abroad. The hypocrisy wasn't lost on citizens. Afghanistan under the Taliban offers another extreme. Since 2021, the Taliban reimposed ultra-puritanical Sharia. Girls barred from higher education, women banned from most jobs, beards mandated, prayer attendance enforced, all while the economy tanked and hunger spread. Those who can flee, those who can't quietly resist. Underground schools, banned entertainment accessed in secret. When the Taliban fall, and eventually they will, there will be a generation even more cynical about politicized religion than before. But here's what makes this exodus different from past religious collapses. Most people can't leave openly, so they do something else. They live double lives. Public Muslim, private atheist. On Reddit's ex-Muslim forum, over 100,000 members share their stories anonymously. What started as a few hundred has exploded into a global support network. They document the mental gymnastics.
David, do you remember how long ago was it that we were told one of the main arguments for the truth of Islam is that no one ever leaves Islam?
Yeah, that was a while back. But yeah, if you go back like 20 years, 18, 20 years and so on, that was so common that when you had an ex-Muslim, it was very common to say, nope, you're a liar. You've been a Christian all your life, or you've been a Jew or something like that. And you're just pretending to be an ex-Muslim because, that's what they said back then. No one ever leaves Islam. And it was just amazing to hear because this became this claim among Muslims. Fortunately, there are so many ex-Muslims now that can be verified as ex-Muslims that they've dropped this. But even back then when they were saying it's like, no one ever leaves Islam. It's like the first of the rightly guided caliphs had to fight what were called the apostasy wars.
Right.
That's what you had to do after Muhammad died. After Muhammad died, so many people left Islam that Abu Bakr had to actually fight what are called the apostasy wars. It's like, but somehow they can spread the myth. No one ever leaves Islam.
Yep, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, yeah, I've not heard that argument in years. I do remember hearing that a lot though, but now because of things like this Reddit forum not gonna work anymore. Pretty messed up stuff, but good to know they can't use that argument.
Fasting during Ramadan when the family is watching, but eating in secret. Attending Friday prayers to keep up appearances while feeling nothing. Using Islamic greetings and going to family celebrations, all while privately rejecting every word. One Egyptian user wrote, "I've been pretending for 6 years. My parents have no idea. They found out I'd be disowned or worse."
Think about that. For 6 years, this guy's been pretending to be a Muslim. 6 years. I don't know how you could keep that up, man. That'd be hard. 6 years.
You gotta go to the mosque. Gotta at least pretend to be fasting during Ramadan. Maybe you could sneak some food when no one's looking and stuff. But
yeah, man, that is a lot. I can't believe it. So, but yeah, you got to think about that. Like this is reflective of like a bigger picture happening in the Islamic world. How many other people are just doing that, or just saying they're Muslim when they don't really believe it? Yeah, they don't care. They're just cultural.
Another from Pakistan. Every day I feel like I'm suffocating. I can't tell anyone. The loneliness is unbearable. The psychological toll is brutal. Anxiety, depression, the constant fear of being discovered. The scale of this hidden exodus is staggering. Think about what this means. If even 10% of the population in major Muslim countries has privately disengaged, that's tens of millions of people. Tens of millions living lies. Tens of millions who mouth the words while their hearts have left. In Egypt alone, 10% would be 12 million people. In Pakistan, 10% would be 26 million.
Now think about that. Think about that in comparison to the lie we've been told for years that, Islam is going to overtake Christianity. Well, you're getting more accurate numbers on who is Christian because we don't have apostasy laws. It's okay to leave Christianity illegally because you're not going to get killed. If you think about these numbers in comparison to the Islamic world, like, are they really going to overtake Christianity? Because their numbers are much lower than what the official numbers are. So, like, this idea they're going to overtake us by 2050, is that accurate based on this? It can't be. The official numbers we know are lies, and this is what they say. That's the numbers they use to try to say that by 2050 or 2060, Islam will overtake Christianity. But if a lot of their numbers, like at least just 10% of that, is people that have left Islam secretly, no, they're not. Yeah.
In Indonesia, 10% would be 29 million. These aren't just statistics. These are human beings trapped between their authentic selves and their survival. For many, the internet is the only escape valve. A young man in a conservative town secretly types into Google late at night, "I don't believe in Islam anymore. What do I do?" A decade ago, that query would yield little. Today, it opens the floodgates. YouTube channels by ex-Muslims discuss contradictions in the Quran. Blogs detail why people left. Online forums offer solidarity. You're not crazy. You're not alone. As one ex-Muslim organizer explained, if you talk about ex-Muslims, you have to talk about the internet. When I left Islam, I thought I was the only one in the world. Then I found others online. Every day I'd see stories and think, oh my God, I'm not the only one. The internet.
Didn't Nabil Quresh think that as well when he left?
not literally the only one, but yeah, it was a lonely world. In fact, I mean, back then it took that
was before the internet was kind of a big thing anyway, too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because that's like before YouTube and so on. But it was so difficult. It was so difficult back then to get someone out of Islam that, you know, it was 4 years for Nabil. But basically after that, we both kind of gave up on the idea of converting Muslims and converting them to Christianity. It was like, it's too time consuming. So we focused more for the first several years on convincing non-Muslims not to convert to Islam. In other words, to expose the stupid arguments that they were being given for converting to Islam and so on. That became the emphasis there. And so that, as far as videos about jihad and so on early on, that was mainly meant to warn other people about what Islam is. And a lot of my early videos were geared towards insulating people, and giving them some basic understanding, so that when the Muslim preacher comes along and says, "Hey, Islam, oh, you believe in women's rights? Did you know that Muhammad was the greatest feminist who ever lived?" They would actually know not to believe that sort of thing. But weird thing happened after putting out tons of those videos. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing lots of people leaving Islam. So it's like, oh, huh.
Yeah. Also,
it can happen.
I just found this on TikTok today, just scrolling, just to let you.
Month TikTok jihadis doxed my entire family. They posted my home address. They posted my wife's phone number and started calling her in the middle of the night when I was out of town. They're saying they're going to Charlie Kirk me. They've been posting videos with pictures of my wife with gunshot noises, pictures of my kids. My days are supposedly numbered.
I speak on behalf of tens of thousands of ex-Muslims around the world when I say that Dr. David Wood played a primary role with me leaving Islam. Honestly, it's probably in the hundreds of thousands. I'm not exaggerating. And it's for that reason that he is a major target for many jihadi dogs.
So yeah, found that today. Thought you might find that interesting. This guy's
Pretty
saying,
based. Yeah. I might have to check out this TikTok you speak of.
Yep, I was like, yeah, that's pretty relevant for today's stream. It's they whisper around the Muslim world, "He who shall not be named, David Wood." Very terrifying.
You know what's crazy? I still feel like we're just getting warmed up here. Not joking.
Oh, we sure are.
I still like, oh my goodness, because just the past couple of years, and now now that there are more people involved, now we're kind of more coordinated, and like we can actually coordinate responses, take out entire arguments and so on that they've been using and so on. And then it's like, man, 2026, 2027, look at everything just crumbling in Dawah. It's like, what does the future hold?
Yep. I'm going to start a script here probably next week on Deuteronomy 18:18, going back through my notes on Abraham fulfilled, and just making a comprehensive video, just crushing that whole idea that Deuteronomy 18:18 is about Muhammad.
When do you want to coordinate those? Because I could give sort of,
oh yeah,
I prefer the basic sort of classic D Wood, making fun of the argument, making a few main points, but making fun of the argument. But I also like linking to a more comprehensive video for people who want to go into a lot more detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will let you know when that script is done, and when we get that edited, I'm going to expedite that one because that's the theme this year. Put it ahead of some other scripts I already have done, and we will get that out probably. Than's got a video coming out on Muhammad in the Bible, I think in March, if he has that done in time. So it might be late March or early.
Yeah, it's already kind of done with the edits. But it's Islamic dilemma, Muhammad in the Bible intersected.
Yeah. I'm going to do a short video on that as well, just saying if Muhammad is in the Bible, Islam is false. If Muhammad's not in the Bible, Islam is false. Just do the dilemma on that as well. So I'll coordinate with you on that. And then I'll let you know on the script on Deuteronomy 18:18, David, and we'll coordinate on that. But I'll be a timetable probably by next week on that one.
And when we get to when we cover Song of Solomon 5:16, some interesting things arise out of that claim. Their claim that Mahmad is actually Muhammad's name, because like Ezekiel's wife is called Mahmad, which if that's a name, then that's Muhammad, then he's Ezekiel's wife. And you have all sorts of interesting things. Anyway, I'm thinking Than should probably make that video and be wearing his Daisy Dukes the entire time and talking about Muhammad.
Wait, what are Daisy Dukes?
Those short shorts you had on.
I keep forgetting you're young. Keep forgetting how young you are, Than.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
Okay,
sure, why not?
Let me break it down for you, Than. Way back in the day, there was a TV show called The Dukes of Hazzard. And everyone who was my age was watching that when they were 6 years old. Every last kid in the entire country. And the Duke boys had a sister named Daisy Duke who would go around in these super tiny shorts. And that was our first crush when we were 6 years old and stuff like that. Anyway, and here we are years later. You're even wearing the Daisy Dukes and you don't know what they're called.
That's funny. I saw the movie Dukes of Hazzard when I was younger, but sure, I'll do that.
Real rich coming from a prophet who busted wide open for homies in the desert. That's true. That's
That
true.
is a fact. Facts.
Anytime they want to mention anything gay, we just bring up what their prophet did, and then they start to blow a gasket cap.
Yeah, and even if we didn't want to go with the al-Zut, all the stuff he did with the al-Zut, then you've got Muhammad and Dihya al-Kalbi, who would be in all these like private meetings, and then when people saw him with Dihya al-Kalbi, he would say, "Oh no, that was the angel Gabriel. He just looks exactly like Dihya al-Kalbi. That's why he was in the back room with me this entire time." And then you've got all these passages about Muhammad being covered in semen. And it's like, Aisha was like, I was scraping it off and I was scratching it off and I was washing it off and I'd still find more. And it's like, why is this guy constantly covered in semen? And you got that hadith in Sunan Abu Dawud where that guy, Muhammad pokes a guy with a stick and he's like, I want retaliation. He's like, oh, take that retaliation. And he's like, but Muhammad, my shirt is off. And he's like, oh, take your retaliation. So Muhammad pulls his shirt up so the guy can smooch him all up and down his milky white flesh and so on. It's like, this is like super, super, super insanely gay every step of the way.
Dower Bro should kiss the homies goodnight more often. They should be like, they should start calling it zooting each other. Come here, let me give you a zoot before you go to bed. Something like that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't lots of parts of the Quran lost due to several companions and memorizers being killed in the Battle of Yamama, among others? How can they claim then that the Quran is preserved?
Yes, that is true. A bunch of the Quran was lost when the only people who had passages memorized died in battle. And that was, interestingly, that was the reason for making a book out of the Quran, like a physical book. Before that, the idea was that the Quran would be preserved through the memory of Muslims. And they found out after they lost a bunch of it. You have hadiths about them writing verses down as Muhammad's revealing them sometimes and so on. That was not to make a book, because it would say they were write it on flat stones and palm leaves and bones, like shoulder blades and so on. Keep in mind, if you're writing stuff on shoulder blades, that's not meant to be put together into a book. You're not flipping through pages of shoulder blades. These were aids to memory. It was, let's write it on here, and that way, someone who can read can keep reciting it to us until we've memorized it. Turns out that was a pretty terrible way to preserve an entire book. And so after a ton of the Quran was lost, when the only people who had passages memorized died in battle, that's when Abu Bakr said, we need a physical copy. That way we won't lose any more of it. If more people die, we can at least go to the physical copy. But that book wasn't like put out there. It was just stored in someone's house. You kept the Quran, and that way someone has a copy so that we don't lose more and so on. So the idea, more people should have copies of the Quran. That comes about later.
Question for David Wood and IP. Hitler and Imperial Japan accidentally helped Stalin and Mao rise respectively after World War II, right? Would it be accurate to say that Islamic Jihad accidentally helped Xi and Putin rise to power? I don't think so. I need to know more about how you're drawing that conclusion. Maybe in the sense like it's authoritarian. They want that sort of to combat the religious rise from the Islamists, but I'm not entirely sure. Join Discord after Libby's jealous rant and Than's funny picks. By the way, have you covered Galen Strawson's argument against ultimate moral responsibility? We've not. I need to know what that argument is. I don't think I've ever even heard of Strawson's argument. But yeah, he's very jealous of Than because he wants Than for himself, and that's why he's posting all this.
Yeah, if you just join this Discord, tag me with the paper so I can look at it for Galen Strawson.
Yeah, I did read all that stuff back when I took classes. I don't recall it now. So he's a hard determinist, right?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
The name sounds familiar. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's not connecting.
I don't know. IP hasn't been making enough money from streaming, so he picked up a nursing job. You see, this is the proof that Christian apologetics is failing. But ignore Malik's life story. Yep. Very true. Very true. I went back to school and had to get nurse training, whatever it's called, and became a nurse.
Oh, he's the one with the base. He's the one who came up with the basic argument. Yeah, I remember that. We had to. That was an interesting class on free will, in that he would, the professor would, make us sort of rewrite the person's arguments in our own words and stuff like that, and it made it stick a little better. But yeah, we might need to discuss stuff like that one day. I don't know.
What don't you understand? It's a job man effect.
Oh, no.
I don't get it.
Yeah. You guys don't get it. This was from Brother Rashid. So it was a couple years ago. We wanted to go after the Muslims keep retreating to arguments that can be more difficult to disprove. So one of these goes all the way back to the Quran, but the Quran is so amazingly perfect in the Arabic that it has to come from God. And so if you want to challenge that, then you have to write something that's equal to or greater than the Quran. So we wanted to test that by having some other things recited in Arabic, but recite it like the Quran. And so it could be some Arabic poetry, it could be passages from the Bible, but in Arabic and so on. And so Brother Rashid, he put together a couple passages along with Quran, because you didn't want different reciters and stuff, but he wanted a couple passages from the Quran, a couple passages of Arabic poetry, a couple other things and so on, and wanted to have them recited so that we can ask a person who hasn't had the Quran memorized but just knows Arabic, tell us what the difference here is and tell us which is obviously the Quran and which is not. So he starts putting this out on message boards, and this imam in Egypt messages him back and says, yeah, as long as you're paying me, I can do all that reciting. I do the recitations in the mosque and so on. So yeah, that's no problem. But Rashid doesn't want to get him in trouble. So he's like, look, you understand we're doing this to criticize Islam and to destroy an argument for Islam, right? So, might want to think about that. And the guy's like, no, I'm fine with it. And Rashid's like, wait, why would you be fine with doing this? And he goes, it's a job. And Rashid keeps like, wait, it's a job. You're like attacking. You're like, you'd be helping non-Muslims undermine an argument from the Quran for the Quran. He goes, yeah. He's responding to Rashid, and he finally goes, yeah, I'm actually an atheist. I don't really believe in this stuff. And so the guy responds, and he goes, wait. So Rashid responds, and he goes, wait a minute, you're an atheist and you're an imam? Why would you do that? And he goes, it's a job. But it was fun. I love.
Yeah, I remember that. After he started talking,
that was classic.
If I had to choose between responding to a cow or Than's butt, I'd choose Than's butt.
That's from Son of Hamas. Son of Hamas, when he said, if I had to choose between 1.6 billion Muslim clowns and a cow, I would choose the cow. And so you have someone who would choose something other than the cow here.
6 months in the Discord server, and all they could find is pictures of Than sent to make jokes with the homies. Yep. This is how desperate they are, man. This is how desperate they are. They can't respond to the argument, so this is the kind of stuff that Libiano and his crew is doing now. Pretty kind of silly. Kind of verifies what we've been saying for a year. They are out of arguments. My boyfriend put ginger in my orange juice because I'm sick. Surprisingly, it's not that bad. Cool, pretty based. Warner, I must debate Than. Coming for you, Than. Gotta put a chain around your neck and everything.
Just like Malik.
Flippy, I know. Islam has the highest rates of girl self-unaliving. Poor kids. That's pretty messed
Is that true?
up. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to look that up. I wouldn't be surprised. Watched your debate with that Muslim lawyer, and I had a hard time believing he was one with how bad it went. This is what Islam does to people. Yep. Man, Muslims' love for Than. Yep. Kind of creepy. The Ottoman Empire was collapsing well before the Great War. By Napoleonic Wars, the Ottoman Empire was considered the sick man of Europe. This is true. And had pushed back out of the Balkans and had been significantly weakened by the Russo-Turkish War of 1877. Yeah, they were.
But from a Muslim perspective, it would have been, as the Ottoman Empire is weakening, someone else in the Muslim world is going to take over, and that's going to be your caliphate. That's what had been happening. They had different caliphates along the way, different groups. And so if your caliphate becomes weak, someone else is going to take over, and they're going to be the new caliphate. It didn't cross their minds that the caliphate is just going to collapse and not be replaced by something else. That's the traumatic part.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah. So yeah, their caliphate is gone. It will never, ever come back. Because the moment any nation tries
not on our watch. Sorry.
Not on our watch, but not on the Muslims' watch either. Like we saw with ISIS. The moment ISIS started, the Muslim nations surrounded them and destroyed ISIS, even though they were claiming to bring back the caliphate. If Saudi Arabia did that, Turkey, Egypt would declare war, and vice versa, because they all want to be in charge and be the powerful nation. They're not going to let anyone else do that. So I don't think we will ever see another caliphate again.
No, you'll see. The only thing you'll see is like ISIS, like caliphates, where someone jumps up and claims to be a caliphate for a little while, but you're not getting a bona fide, pan-Islam caliphate anymore.
Yeah. This is interesting. Let me put this up. Okay, so as we've been pointing out, like 7 out of 10 converts to Islam leave Islam, and this is an imam admitting this. This is an imam pointing this out. If you pointed out, David, like they create more ex-Muslims than they create Muslims with the attack. And I didn't tell you this, but when we were at DebateCon in Houston, this happened right before AP's debate. I'm in the elevator coming down, and there's a man in the elevator, this big black guy. He's like, "What's DebateCon?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come check it out." So he's walking over. He's like, "Oh, this looks interesting. I was a Muslim for like 10 years." And I'm like, "You're not now?" "Nah, I'm an atheist now." Random guy at the hotel, not associated with DebateCon, just wanted to check out DebateCon. Yeah, he was an ex-Muslim walking around.
And yeah, guys, think about that statistic there. 70%. When you see Muslims, so-and-so converted. Oh, we got more converts. Oh, we got 10 converts at the park. 70% of them are going to leave Islam within a few years. What does that mean? It means that the consequence, the real impact, the real result of dawah is that they are creating more ex-Muslims than they are creating Muslims, right? So if you win 1,000 converts, if you have an awesome dawah campaign and you win 1,000 converts, 700 of those people are going to leave Islam. And that means you created 700 ex-Muslims and 300 Muslims. Not a winning strategy.
No, but what they do is they fall back on birth rates, but that is also not looking good for the Islamic world. They talk about Muslims having the highest birth rates, and they do, but their birth rates are also declining. Look at Morocco, for example. Okay. Look at Iraq, Iran, Indonesia, also kind of dropping there. I have other charts showing that it's actually higher in Indonesia. You can see even Afghanistan birth rates have dropped there. So interesting stuff. This is another interesting aspect as well. You can see, again, birth rates low. Niger seems to be the exception there, but Niger is extremely poor when it comes to that. That needs to be kept in mind.
Well, that's also standard. It's usually poorer nations that have higher birth rates and so on, because if you're wealthier, you tend to modernize, and then people have kind of more opportunities to do things. So then they can go to school longer, they can work on their careers and so on. And when you focus on other things, then your birth rates drop. And so,
Yep, you can see in this chart as well. Again, Pakistan dropping. Apparently, Indonesia is close to below the replacement level. They're at replacement level 2.1. And they've been dropping. It used to be that the West was going to pull people from the Muslim world to replace their declining populations, but they're not going to be able to do that if the Muslim nations' birth rates are dropping. And if these rates continue, they're going to be below replacement level as well, as some of these nations already are. But I found this interesting article from just very recently. This is from 2024. Says he points out there are reports that Muslims are going to take over. It is claimed that the growth of the Muslim population will create many problems in the Islamic world, including law and order, as well as break efforts for economic prosperity. But recent surveys conducted by agencies and others give a different picture. So this is important what he's saying here. He says these surveys show the rise of Muslim population is not as fast and as dramatic as it is projected, sometimes with bad intentions. What comes out of these surveys is that the trend of fast growth of Muslim populations around the world has been checked dramatically during the last 3 decades. Birth rates per women has fallen sharply among Muslim countries, and therefore their population is not increasing as speedily as some people wrongly believed. Guys, go back like 20 years when they were saying, yeah, Islam is going to take over the world by 2050. They were projecting the same birth rates, but those birth rates have not kept up with those projections. Therefore, the idea that Islam is going to be the world's largest religion by middle of the century, those were based on the higher birth rates, which are now dropping. This is largely due to the fact that literacy in Muslim world has increased. This is what David was just talking about. An economy of many countries has improved. Greater literacy rates is directly linked with the fall of growth of population because it is the main factor for maintaining fertility rates to a reasonable limit. Successful efforts for economic prosperity of common man, healthcare awareness, particularly for women and children, emancipation of women, and other major causes for the fall of the birth rate in Muslim societies throughout the world. So here he's got some interesting numbers. If you go back, like, for example, Bangladesh in 1960, it was 6.6. Bangladesh now is 2.2. That's basically at replacement level. And then he notes in 2023, it is below replacement level in Bangladesh. Same with Bahrain, below replacement level, even though in 1960, he was around 7. So women in 1960 were having on average 7 children. Now they're having below 2. Brunei as well. Indonesia is at replacement level. Iran, 1.7. Kuwait, at replacement level. Malaysia, 1.8. Qatar, 1.8. Turkey, 1.9. This is, they're claiming the West is going to collapse. They're right behind us with their declining.
Not in the
birth
Warner
rates.
sense.
Nope. So this idea that they're going to take over the world, they need those sustainable birth rates. And you combine this with the apostasy happening. Like, what were they saying? That the Muslim clerics were saying 24% of Muslim youth leave Islam.
Mhm.
You combine that with this.
Yep.
What are they going to do by 2050?
Yeah, and then they think, well, but our powerful Dawa's collapsing, and then even the converts who are gullible enough to fall for this stuff, 70% of them leave.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's not looking good for them from any angle.
Yeah, and yeah, you could. So think about this. So according to Pew Research, the global Muslim birth rate is 2.9. The non-Muslim birth rate is 2.2. Okay, I think that's based on 2020 levels. Okay, now you would take the apostasy rate. 24% of Muslim youth are leaving Islam. I've seen 23, 26 as well. What is like 24% of 2.9? It's about 0.7. So 2.9 minus 0.7 puts it at 2.2. That's the non-Muslim birth rate globally. So you combine the Muslim birth rate with the apostasy rates of young people, that puts them at the exact same level as the non-Muslim birth rate. Their plan to take over the world is over.
Oh yeah, and guys, so big picture, everyone. Big picture, everyone. The apostasy rate is increasing. So IP, when you heard 26%, that's because the 24% was from like 5 or 6 years ago. The most recent one is 26%, which means it went up another 2% over the past few years. So the apostasy rate, and guys, keep in mind, if you went back 25 years, it would have been close to zero, right? Would have been close to zero. So after 2.5 decades, it went from close to zero to 26% apostasy rate among young Muslims. So your apostasy rate is accelerating. The only reason it didn't collapse already is because you had high birth rates. But if your birth rates are dropping while the apostasy rate is accelerating, it's just math. You lose. You see, the math doesn't lie, and it spells disaster for you.
A report in the New York Times in 2011 under the heading "Forecast Sees Muslim Population Leveling" states that the growth of Muslim population, will level off with more Muslim women getting educations and jobs, people migrating to cities, and living standards improving. He adds the birth rate in Muslim majority countries will come more closely to resemble the pattern of other nations. In his opinion, predictions that Europe will become a majority Muslim Eurabia are unfounded. The fact is that fertility rate of many rich and educationally sound Muslim countries like Iran, Malaysia, Turkey, UAE, etc., already resemble that of many European countries, but poor and educationally backward African Muslim countries like Nigeria, which is actually 49% Christian, have still high rates of birth as stated above. So yeah, Ethiopia is a Christian nation. They have high birth rates as well. So you got to take that stuff into consideration. Actually, sub-Saharan Africa has extremely high birth rates as well, and they're Christian or folk religion. Disputing the report that world population will reach to 10 billion in 2011, Indian economist says, claims that birth rates worldwide will fall below replacement rates in the 2020s. According to his projections, population growth will be only sustained till the 2040s by rising longevity, but will peak below 9 billion by 2050. So they're already predicting that populations is going to start to decrease by 2050, including Muslims. India, with its large Muslim minority, has also success story for checking the population growth. So this author, whose name I'm not going to pronounce, also reports that India has defused the population bomb and done with it without a draconian one-child policy. One may rightly hope that with the philosophy of development to all, the benefit of economic prosperity and education in Muslim societies will reach to all and no section will remain abandoned. Hopefully the coming decade will see all-round developments in the Islamic world and population growth of Muslim countries check to the level desired, i.e. 2.1. So, yep, he's basically pointing out here that when you just run the numbers, this idea that the Muslim birth rates are going to continue is not going to happen. You have rising apostasy rates. You have low retention for Muslim converts. What does that tell you? Islam is not going to go the path that everyone was predicting 15, 20 years ago. They are not going to overtake the world like they've been claiming based on the way the numbers are showing now. Again, when they project Islam is going to dominate the world and be the largest religion by 2050, those were based on the current apostasy rates, which they were taking official numbers, and it was like below 0%, which we know is fabrications, lies, but also the current birth rates, which are declining rapidly. So this idea they're going to overtake the world is not founded. It's not based in fact.
Wow.
Yep.
In other words, game over.
Game over. And again, like I was saying, if the Muslim birth rate is 2.9, the non-Muslim birth rate is 2.2, but you have apostasy rates at about 25, 26%, that places you combine that with the Muslim birth rate. It makes the Muslim birth rate the same with the non-Muslim birth rate. So you will have the same amount of growth in terms of Muslim, non-Muslim. When you get time, watch Iranian Christians singing Waymaker in Farsi. The church is full. That's pretty awesome. Let's hope that happens. I hope Iran, the regime collapses there, because I think the real numbers we'll see coming out will be drastically different. As people get more access to information, they will leave the religion. But then there's those that are just beyond radicalization and are ready for war. Yeah, but that's the thing, too. When the Muslims gear up for war through acts of terrorism, conquest, that just turns more people off to Islam. That turns people more against. This is what we see. Like, for example, when we fight the Dawah guys online in this intellectual battle, they become some of our greatest allies for getting people away from Islam with their belligerent narcissism. Like, you think people seeing Muhammad Hijab or Ali Dawah or Libiano, like, oh, that's the kind of Islam I want to join. No, they're drastically turned off by that kind of stuff. What they do is they're projecting a mentality to keep people in Islam. They're not doing dawah anymore. They're just trying to convince people not to leave Islam. If they were doing dawah, they'd be acting more like Ahmed Deedat or Zakir Naik, like more calm. Hey, we have all the evidence. Come in. But they're not doing that. They're projecting this idea of strength to try to keep people in Islam, because what they're doing turns off non-Muslims like crazy. You talk about Islam is imploding, but research says Christians losing followers more than gaining. Who's imploding here? I never said that Christianity was not declining. But this idea that Christianity is only suffering from that is false. We see the same thing happening with Islam. So if they're going to be declining at the same rates, you're not going to overtake the world like you were playing. That's the point. So you're not actually getting the point here.
What are the recent numbers on Christianity right now?
So we saw church attendance went up a little bit. According to the numbers from last year, Christianity kind of like in the U.S. stopped at like 62%. I think it moved back up to like 63. People are talking about a quiet revival, but we still haven't seen that in terms of numbers. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen over the next couple of years. But there is an interesting book called "Shall the Religious Inherit the Earth" that maybe this super chat should read. This guy that sent in the super chat by not a Christian. It's written by someone and his last name is Kaufman. believe it's Eric Kaufman. He points out that Europe, what's happening in Europe is secularists don't have a lot of children, and who's having the most children in Europe is like very traditional religious groups like Lutherans, for example, or evangelicals. So he's predicting that within a generation, it's still going to be majority Christian because of who's having the children. And a lot of the Muslims coming in do deconvert as well. They're doing something right if they're attacking. Yep, they're scared of you, Than. That's why they're going after you.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
You shouldn't have come out with that Bayesian Islamic dilemma, man. The heck is wrong with you?
Terrifying.
Actually put a target right on your butt.
I would even argue the collapse of the Ottoman Empire began with the Ottoman-Portuguese War, with the Portuguese essentially cutting the Ottomans out of the Persian Sea, forcing them to continue to bleed against the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah. They also didn't expand into the Americas, which was a major problem for them. When Western European powers found that, they basically they had so many resources available, they became giant powers. Momo meets Muhammad Ali in the Boom Boom Room. Didn't you do something? No, you're not the Muhammad Ali. Yo, you should get Avery. You should get Avery to be Muhammad Ali.
Why? Because he's black?
Yes, obviously, but he doesn't look like Muhammad Ali, man. I was telling when we were in New York, I was telling Avery he needs to come up with a new character based on Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem, who's one of the coolest characters of all time. But I think he could actually pull that off, like if he got the costume. Muhammad Ali, yeah, we'd have to find someone who kind of looks like Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm. Bark, bark, my fuzzy little Than Peach. Pretty gay, man. Not gonna lie.
Libiano exposed the fact that I'm gay, and it's like everybody knows this. Hence the chats that we get of people asking to kiss me.
You see, he admitted it. We don't understand how sarcasm works. The New Testament explains why forced religion doesn't work. No one is made right by the law, and people were worshiping, not understanding why. Yep, that is true. People need to understand why they're worshiping. If you read Judges, like Judges 2 explains this, that like the generations after Joshua fell away because they were not trained up to actually believe in Yahwehism. That was the problem. We have orthoduck lips, orthobump lips, lipiano, lesbiano, flippiano. What else? I think orthobump lips is now more appropriate in this stream.
No, bum lips.
Orthobum lips. Yep, my
mistake. Bum lips. I like duck lips just because he actually makes duck lips for pictures. He doesn't look like that, but when it's a picture, he'll be like.
Did you see our countdown we made, David? Of him?
Nope.
I gotta get it because I don't want to play everything, but yeah, we have a countdown. Let me find that for you while I go through super chats. We have a countdown of him being himself. It's we put him in what is it? The DuckTales song. We got that from Sal, Polemic Pulse, and we turned that into a countdown.
You need to fix the intro when Than says if you want to go deeper, you got to say, but not in the Zoot sense. Then follow inspiring philosophy.
And there's an Australian politicon who claims that Islam is the most feminist religion in the world, and so on national TV. I find that hilarious. Does anyone else? Yeah. Everyone with IQ above 90 finds that hilarious.
Anyone with an IQ above 70.
Jake was upset over 1 billion people didn't know Islam. Was that on your stream? He said that?
Don't remember.
This is the reason I'm not losing sleep. Jesus will keep changing hearts, and Satan will keep losing the battle to our Lord and Savior. Very true. Very true.
Sagada forever.
Islam is a racket wrapped in a swindle inside a scam. Yes, it is. E-I-E-I-O.
E-I-E-I-O.
Not going to lie, people like David Wood have given me so much info about Islam. In fact, I was following David Wood before he was cool. Wait, he's cool now? Since when?
There was never a time when D Wood was not cool.
We'll see about that.
I'm going to ask Mike Winger about that.
As a Muslim, I never pay.
Well, I didn't see David at the latest Star Trek convention, so obviously he's not cool. And if he really wanted to prove that he's cool, he'd show up with some Spock ears, and then we'd know he's cool.
Mr. Big Feet says, truth as a Muslim, I never pay for a Christian chat as true as I make it up. UK, no dog outside laws, time to have pets, pig parades, free canines. I think there's some grammar issues in here. I'm not sure what's being said. Great to see you guys together. You both are doing amazing work for the Lord in these times. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Dripping the photos come across like smugglers dumping contraband. Perhaps they are afraid of being exposed like Malik. Yep. Deuteronomy 18:18 isn't about Muhammad, but Deuteronomy 18:20 is. Very true.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'll be covering the satanic verses when I do that video. When you first started critiquing Islam IP, you should have had the theme be Cross My Heart and Hope to Die. Welcome to my dark side. I like that. I like that. It's not bad. Yo, mama is so bad, she failed to do her one job by preserving the Quran.
Your mama.
Your mama.
Battle of your mama.
Will you react to Andrew Wilson and Richard Carrier's debate? Wait, they had a debate? Wait.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, DebateCon. That was a while back. No, I don't know. Andrew did like a slow burn, so it took a while. I wasn't really sure how to react to that without playing immense amount of it. So you kind of have to watch the whole thing to see it. It's easier to get into Muhammad. Dr. Daddy Wood, love the channel IP. Yes. Why is he calling you Daddy Wood? That's creepy, man.
Don't know.
Creepy. Yeah.
It's the Than effect.
Yeah, don't check my Discord.
Was Petra an ancient Arab civilization? ChatGPT Wikipedia says so. Just sounds wrong and made up. Can you guys check it out? I don't know. Not up to date on the whole Petra stuff.
Yeah, it sounds weird though.
It was an Edom, for example. That would not be Arab. That'd be an Edomite start. I like to point out that they stared at Than for 2 days straight, but they have the audacity to expose Than. Repressed losers behavior, to be honest. He did rock those shorts though. Yep. They were staring at you for so many days on those shorts, and they were just, we got to show this to everyone. We have to show this to everybody. Pretty creepy. Think about that. Just think about that.
They really liked my hamstring pose in the bodybuilding. We have a bodybuilding chat too, by the way, in there, Mike. They took pictures in there. From there.
Oh, where you guys are showing off muscles, doing your weird bodybuilding stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the thing. They don't understand jokes or how, like, they don't understand context. Like
how normal dudes interact with each other.
Right. Because they don't. They're creepy weirdos. And so
there is an appropriate way to respond. For every picture they post of you, post their face of their prophet over the exact same picture in the same Daisy Dukes. And they'll give up on that real quick. Like,
I'm gonna let you can do that.
And so I shall.
My approach is just to keep doing what I'm doing. Somebody said that I should get like a maid outfit and just take a video of me deadlifting like 500 pounds.
You can't deadlift 500 pounds. You're like,
yeah, I can.
Pounds.
Yeah, I can. I'll send you a video.
Yeah, well, this is weird. Like, I put a wig on one time, and they're like, "It's him cross-dressing." I'm like, men don't have long hair. Like, wow, you guys are so messed up.
Oh, well, if they're complaining about that, they're going to have to deal with Muhammad cross-dressing here this year, just so everyone knows. And I've warned them about that. You have all these passages about Muhammad being in his wife's garments and so on. And they'll say, no, it means in her house. It's like, it says, I mean, some of the hadiths say garment, in his wife's garments, and others say in his wife's dress. And so, yeah, how you're getting a house out of that or something like that. Anyway, and they'll try to translate it as blanket and so on. But anyway, kept warning them. But, and what's weird is when I say, hey guys, I will make that extremely popular this year. They go, oh, you will never because of the powerful dawah. It's like, guys, you want to check the Al-Zut story from last year, thinking that you can stop something? Anyway.
Yeah, we should get that to the Scottish Korean. He'd probably enjoy hearing that. Anyway, let's get back to this video. We've been off it for a while.
It broke the isolation. It shattered the monopoly clerics held on information. A 16-year-old in Karachi can secretly watch evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins explain evolution.
I mean, don't watch him, but I mean, I get the point you're trying to make.
On YouTube. His parents at 16 could only ask their imam, who would dismiss evolution outright.
That's what this is, an AI voice, because it said Iman instead of Imam.
Instead of Imam.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old woman in Riyadh can find feminist critiques of Islamic law online. Her grandmother simply accepted it as God's decree. The narrative has been broken. Of course, regimes know this is a threat. Iran tried building a national internet to wall off citizens. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan employ cyber police to hunt atheist bloggers. In Bangladesh, multiple secularist bloggers were hacked to death in the streets. But it's a losing battle. VPNs, proxy servers, mirror sites. Tech-savvy youth find workarounds faster than governments can ban them. And here's the thing about enforced systems. They think they're winning because people still perform. But what they're really building is emptiness. Because once enough people stop believing, the collapse doesn't look like rebellion. It looks like silence. And the first thing a hollow society loses is its future. The future belongs to the youth. And among them, women are leading the exodus. For many women in conservative Muslim societies, religion isn't experienced as spiritual guidance. It's experienced as a cage. One ex-Muslim woman described it, "My whole life, I was told I couldn't do things that my male cousins were allowed to do. It felt so unfair and suffocating. Dress modestly, defer to male authority, accept lesser inheritance, tolerate polygamy or unequal divorce rights, bear the burden of family honor." For a girl with aspirations beyond what her environment permits, this breeds deep resentment. When she questions these rules, she's told this is God's law. Eventually, she starts questioning God. Education becomes the catalyst. Many ex-Muslim women point to university as the turning point. They learned about feminism, human rights, societies where women are treated more equally. They discovered that entire countries exist where women aren't second-class citizens, and nothing catastrophic happens because of it.
That's the thing, is like, you can't keep this stuff hidden from the women in the Islamic world anymore. And if you look at actual research that came out of that, women have lower levels of education, life expectancy, just worse overall quality of life in the Islamic world. When they see women outside of that, they're gonna be resentful. Like they're gonna want to desire that. And you think about like what David was covering on his channel a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, even like the Muslim women attacking the Dawah bros, going after them for how they're treating them. I mean, the Dawah bros are not helping this at all the way they have treated women. I mean, see if I can find that clip really fast. You sent me that clip today, David. What was it?
Oh, wait, don't share that clip.
Don't share that clip. Why?
No, because the woman that they brutally threatened with rape just sent me a message and said, please don't share that.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
they're threatening her more over sharing the clip. I mean, when people share the clip.
Okay, can you imagine? So Libiano threatens to grape a girl. We expose how evil Libiano is, and now they go threaten her and attack her more? That's how evil. These guys are going to be trying to bring more women into Islam. Are you kidding me? How's that going to work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we actually just we covered this a couple days ago, me and Thaddeus, but there's a huge TikTok rebellion going on right now where the Muslim women on TikTok are just flipping out on the guys. The ringleader of the TikTok Muslimas was saying, keep your boots on their dirty necks or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, so it's women are catching on. It's like, why do we listen to these evil scumbags, think that they could tell us what to do and think they control us? They don't control us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild, man. I don't see how this is going. The way the Dawah bros treat women, these leading faces that are supposed to be bringing people into Islam. How are you going to bring more women into Islam when these clips are now being shared around, exposing how you treat women, how you want them subjugated? Like, this isn't going to help anything. It's just going to show you how evil Islam is. I got to do a video eventually on all the data on women in Islam, because I have studies showing increased levels of wife beating, increased levels of just overall harm done. I mean, I got to eventually get that video done. I got to read Robert Spencer's book, because he just put out a book on that. So I was going to include data from there.
One woman described the epiphany. It was like I had been blindfolded my whole life and suddenly someone took it off. I saw the world in a completely different light. But leaving comes at an extraordinary cost. In patriarchal cultures, a woman's role is to be the bearer of tradition and honor. When a woman renounces Islam, it's seen as an unforgivable betrayal. Families disown daughters. Some are locked up at home or forced into re-education. In extreme cases, honor-based violence. One woman from a devout family said, "I would make small hints like, 'I'm not sure about this verse,' to test the waters. But my parents' reactions were so negative, I knew I had to hide my true feelings for years." Many live double lives for long periods, outwardly participating in religious activities while inwardly distancing themselves from the faith. But for those who reach physical and financial independence, some come out openly. In Iran, the act of removing the hijab publicly became revolutionary, a literal casting off of religious control. For many women who leave Islam, the moment of reclaiming bodily autonomy is deeply liberating. One ex-Muslim woman from Saudi Arabia, now living in the West, said, "It was like a weight lifted. I could finally feel the breeze in my hair and not feel guilty for it. I was in charge of my body and destiny." Organizations like Faithless Hijabi now offer support specifically for women navigating the trauma of leaving. These networks validate experiences. You're not crazy. It was oppression. You're brave for seeking a better life.
You just got to wonder, like, how is this avalanche of apostasy going to unravel? Like, I can't imagine being a woman in the Muslim world because the way they have the amount of laws forced upon them, it's got to be draining and just overbearing. Like even what we saw with the Dawa bros fighting the Dawa ladies. I mean, the Dawa ladies were complaining a couple of weeks ago that you're attacking us for wearing makeup, not wearing a niqab, showing our eyes. I mean, like they thought they couldn't even breathe. How is that? Why are they even staying in Islam at this point? I can't even understand why. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was a little bit earlier. I was mentioning, the impact of education and so on. And so what you see in Afghanistan is, okay, no more education, no more talking. They're trying to seal women off completely from outside, any sort of outside influence, because they know what any kind of outside influence does to Islam.
Yep. It's going to be impossible now with the internet. Could you review Tom Holland's conversation with Peter J. Williams on gospel reliability? Would be very helpful. I will look into that. Didn't even know it happened until you mentioned it, Jonathan. Is your family safely and securely moved, David? Praying for you all ever coming back to Dearborn. I'm in Michigan. Would love to join you.
No, we're still, we've checked out a few places now, and other people snatched them up before we did. So I have it's kind of I want my sort of studio area here. I want an upgrade so that I can, in other words, I want a big room so that we have more space and stuff like that. So we're kind of looking for a place that has a good spot for recording and stuff, so that I can say, hey, dumb Malik, guess what? You made us move, but look, now I put out way better content because I have more space. Anyway, something along those lines.
Pretty based. Any updates on who Mike and David will be debating at the next debate con? I'm supposed to be debating Jake on the Islamic dilemma. That's
at debate con?
Yeah.
In like June or something?
Yep. Supposed to be May, but he moved it back.
Yeah, James is still checking with people for debate with me.
Yep. I think Avery's supposed to be there as well. I think he's looking for a debate opponent for Avery. Thank you for gifting 50 Inspiring Philosophy memberships. We really, really appreciate that. I love how we're basically doing nothing and Dawa is crumbling while we just watch. That is the thing, man. That is the thing. Like, there's a story in Kings. I forget where it is, but it's like the Israeli army has to they fast for 3 days and 3 nights. Then they go out to fight the enemies, and the armies have like turned on each other and killed each other. Like, that's kind of how I feel half the time fighting Dawa. Like we didn't plan for Malik and Jake and Speaking Muslim to all start fighting, but that's what they just did. Like, they're doing the work for us. And then again, the outside world sees this and they're like, if that's what it's like inside Islam, why would I ever convert? Even with Islam declining, how much damage can they still do to Western cultures like the U.S. and European countries in their attempt to take over? They can do a lot of damage in Europe. Not so much in America, but in Europe, yeah, they can definitely do some damage. There's going to probably be some civil wars, I would suspect, soon.
You think in like the Western countries there will be?
I think France is riddled with chaos. I can't imagine them. It's just bad. It's bad there. That's all I'm saying. From what I've heard on the inside. Dawa losing it over bros being bros. It's banter. Yep. Yeah. They're like, I gotta find this clip because Malik said it last night where he says he said something like inside it's like it's even worse. Like you see all the fighting on the outside, but it's even worse on the inside. But yeah. I gotta find that. I forget what I'm trying to think of what he exactly said in that thing. I don't know. I didn't watch his whole thing this morning when Thaddeus sent this over to me. But I don't know. Oh, here it is. Here. I can put this up now.
It's not even worth it. It's not worth it. If people like Jay can speak and are going to exist in this community, then there's no hope. And the thing is that I can tell you guys boycott. We boycott Jake for a bit, and you guys will forgive him.
Hold on, I think I need to go to the 8-minute mark. It's like around there. I don't think it jumped for some reason.
Oh, that's all fake, bro. Like, I don't care what you guys like, how you guys want to justify it online. Like, I've been around the world 3 times, and I know like fake when I see it. And it's just so much behind the scenes. And even the way bro, if y'all think the stuff I say is crazy, like the behind the scenes stuff is even like worse, you know?
So Malik is saying the stuff he shows publicly, it's even worse behind the scenes, the way they fight with each other and they're attacking each other. Like, as he said, he's been rear-ended by so many Muslims. Not in the Zut sense, but he's been rear-ended by so many Muslims.
And
good.
Oh, and he says he knows fake when he sees it because he looks in a mirror every day and says, I'm a gangster.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, you join Islam and you immediately start fracturing and fighting. I mean, look at poor Jake Brancatello. Apparently, he's been in on the doxing, according to Malik. I'd like to see what he has to release on that. But, he joined Islam and now, like, half the Dawa guys hate him. Like, I can't imagine being in that community where you have to walk on eggshells all the time, always competing for attention. Like we go on streams and we talk. They talk about how they have to record each other's phone calls just because they need to have dirt to use on each other. I've never recorded one phone call with Than or David or anyone. Like, we don't try to keep dirt on each other over here. I don't get this.
Oh, man. I have a whole like Google Drive folder on you, Mike.
Man, all right, you're done. You're done then.
I'm just joking.
I know. Sagada forever. David Wood 2026. All right.
Hey,
David Wood, you're winning me over. Muslim politician in New York wants to ban dogs as pets in the city. Wait, did Mom Donnie say that?
I heard rumors about this, but I don't know.
I'll look it up.
How many Muslims died in Yamama? RIP preservation. I don't know. A bunch. How many Muslims died in the Battle of Yamama, David?
Not sure.
Let's see. According to some estimates, I just quickly looked up, 500 to 1,000, it looks like. Maybe as high as 1,200. When anyone claims we and Muslims have the same God, say theirs is the greatest of deceivers. Our God is truth. Theirs love death. Ours is life. They are slaves of their God. Ours has called us friends and dear children. Our God is the opposite of theirs. Very true. Yep. Please pray for my cousin's child. He's 12, and we just found out he has a baseball-sized brain tumor. He's having surgery tomorrow. That's good. We will pray for him. Sorry to hear that. Thank you for becoming a channel member. I'm always grateful to hear men speaking up for women in Christ likeness. Thank you. Thank you so much. This super chat just says Zut. Powerful. Hi, David Wood, IP, and DE. Why are they calling you DE, Than?
DE.
I don't know. Bit off topic, but there's a content creator, Monte Mater, very progressive, uses the Bible to go after conservative Christians. I'm not sure she's being very truthful. Love to hear your thoughts. Never heard of her.
Oh, they probably just don't know my name is Than, because I'm dumb employee right now.
Oh, I see. Didn't even finish reading my super chats. Worth Hermano ever. Sorry, man. Sorry. I'll go back to it. Sorry. David Wood, Cigata forever, in the most cartel gangsta voice ever. Yep. There. I read it. Cool. I hope you're happy now. All right. So yeah, that's what I found looking into the whole Islamic numbers for the night. I don't think we have any good evidence, given that we're seeing high apostasy rates among Muslim youth. We're seeing very low retention rates for Muslim converts, and even their birth rates are starting to drop. You combine that with the Dawah scene collapsing and them all just focusing on themselves, not working together. And you know, Malik, for all of his stuff he gets wrong, he is right. He's absolutely right. The Dawah's bros need to work together, and if they don't, Dawah is going to keep collapsing. But the problem is he thinks he should be in charge, and that's where they're all like, I'm in charge. They're all saying, I'm in charge. None of them want to actually, you know, work with each other because they all want to be the star. And then what are you going to see happen? Dawah will keep collapsing, and we will just be there for the show at this point because they're doing all the heavy lifting for us, which is making it a lot easier to collapse Dawah and get the gospel out.
Dan's like, no, I can do heavy lifting. I can deadlift 500 pounds.
You're gay, Daisy Dukes.
I can.
All right.
I can. I challenge you to a bahala of lifting, David.
As long as it's a game of bahala.
Young D Wood would have crushed you. Old D Wood wouldn't even try.
Fair enough.
Silent Watcher says I had a super chat you missed. Man.
Come on, man.
All right, I'll look.
Hey, 95% of the time when they say you missed a super chat, you didn't miss it. They just weren't paying attention and they missed you reading it.
Okay, I'm looking for Silent Watcher.
Silent Watcher. That's the Warner.
It's a superhero name. I'm not seeing it in my list, man. I'm not seeing it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm scrolling through all the super chats because they get saved, and I don't see that profile pic anywhere in here. So maybe it didn't go through.
Ban.
Oh, wait. Here it is.
Oh, never mind.
Even with Islam
I was about
declining,
to
how
ban
much damage can they still do to West? I did read this, man.
You did read it.
Totally read that, man.
That's what I said. I told you. It's almost always they missed it.
They missed it. Very rude. Very rude. We forgive you, though. Yep. That's what I got. I think David and I will be live on Godlogic's channel Wednesday. Than and you and I are doing a call-in stream Thursday for Muslims to call in and debate the Islamic dilemma like we had talked about. So that'll be Thursday. That'll be fun. Thursday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
So, David, don't stream Thursday afternoon. Stream Thursday evening if you're streaming because we're doing Thursday afternoon.
I'll do what I want.
All right, fine. Very rude. All right, we'll see you guys next time. We're going to close this out, but we'll be live again Thursday, and I'll be on Godlogic's channel Wednesday. See you guys next time. You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.